Hello booktube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amani and you are watching Along the Pages. So it is now 2020. Welcome to a new year. Happy New Year, you guys. I want to talk about all the books that I read. Well, not all the books that I read in 2019, but the books that stood out the most to me. So these are basically the books that I enjoyed the most out of this year. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have 5 stars. It just means that I enjoyed them the most. So let's just get into it. Also, these books are in no particular order, so it's not from like my least favorite to my most favorite. Well, I am putting my most favorite book of the entire year at the very end, but everything else is just kind of however I go about it. So to start off, I'm going to go with To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. I absolutely adored this book. If you know this book, you know this book. And if you don't know this book, you've been living under a rock, okay? It basically follows Laura Jean, who is in high school, and she writes these letters, 5 letters, to each boy that she thought she loved throughout her life. And she just writes them just to get her feelings out. She puts them in a hat box, puts them at the top of her closet, and somehow one day they go missing and all these guys end up with her letters. And things just unfold from there. It's really good. I give this book a 5 out of 5 star. The movie is on Netflix. If you have not watched the movie, please watch it because I was literally obsessed with it. And the next movie, which is P.S. I Still Love You, comes out next month and I am extremely excited for that. I'm not sure if I already said, but I give this book a 5 out of 5 star. Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Now, this is my very first ever graphic novel that I've ever read, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very hyped up on BookTube, and for good reason. I read this volume and volume 2 this year, and I plan on, well, last year, and I plan on getting into all the other volumes in this upcoming year. Okay, I give this a 5 out of 5 star as well. Okay, another book that I read this year was, this book changed my entire it changed my entire view, because before this year, before 2019, I had not read many black books. And when I say black books, I mean the main characters are black, the author is black. I had not read many of those books. Now I'm making it, I have made it 2019 like a goal. I need to read as many own voice books, as many black books possible, any books of color, okay? I just need to read and collect as many as I possibly can. This book is a staple, and I think if you love fantasy, you love magic, then you absolutely need this book in your collection. And that is none other than Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This book is a 5 out of 5 star, clearly. It was so good, and if you don't know anything about it, all I have to say is Black Panther meets The Last Airbender, period. Okay, that's all that you need to know. This is actually my second favorite book of 2019 that I read, so I'm really happy about that. Oh, did I just say second favorite? Because I forgot this is, okay, these are pretty much my favorite books of 2019. Okay, let's just be real here. So another book that I read by another black author and black main character is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. This book, oh my gosh, this book, okay, I don't even know how to just explain to you guys. This book means everything to me. It represents me. This book is me, okay? If you don't know what this is about, it's about a young girl named Star who was, oh my gosh, I just realized I have been explaining books to you guys, and good. You guys know I normally just read a couple of lines of, you know, the synopsis. But anyway, this book follows a young girl named Star, and she goes to a party one night, and the person that she's with is a young black man, and he ends up getting shot by the police. And after that, we just kind of follow Star and how she deals with that, and you know, the public dealing with it and her community, and it's just so freaking good. She's caught in between 2 worlds. She goes to a school that's predominantly white, and you know, so she's grown up going to that type of school, and then she goes back home to the hood, you know, a lower income neighborhood, and all the black people around her call her a white girl Oreo, and I can definitely relate to that, which also should be stopped. So hopefully we don't have any of that in 2020. But anyway, this book is very, very good. You can see this is the first book actually that I've ever tabbed and annotated. And look at how ugly my tabs are. Like, can you see how ugly that is? They are so ugly. Like, I can't believe I thought this was okay. I do not tab like this anymore, okay? My tabs are now gorgeous. But anyway, oh, I can actually show you. Look at how small. You can't even really see, huh? Ah, that's how my tabs are now. Beautiful. But anyway, this book, highly recommend, 5 out of 5 star. So the next book that I also read is Warcross by Mary Lou, and this book, I did not think I was gonna like this. I like books, you know, if you ever seen Spy Kids, the second one, or was it the third one? I think it's the third one, and they were in the game world. I like things like that, I do, but I didn't think that I would really like this as much as I did. It reads kind of like you're watching a Disney movie, to be honest with you. It feels like you're watching a Disney movie, and I mean that in the best way possible. It's always something that's happening. The world building is amazing in this book. The romance is slow burn, but it's still so good, and it's like a really good twist at the end that you kind of could have predicted, but in that type of way where it's like, this is a good prediction, I want to know more. And it ended on a cliffhanger. It ended on a cliffhanger, and I just really am excited to read the next book, which has already come out. I believe it's called Wild Card. I don't even know how to describe it. Let me read a little thing of it, actually. The obsession started 10 years ago, and its fan base now spans the globe. Some eager to escape from reality, and others hoping to make a profit. Struggling to make ends meet, teenager hacker Amika Chin works as a bounty hunter, tracking down Warcross players who bet on the game illegally. But the bounty hunting world is a competitive one, and survival has not been easy. To make some quick cash, Amika takes a risk and hacks into the opening game of the International Warcross Championships, only to accidentally glitch herself into the actual action and become an overnight sensation. That is, yeah. The next book that I read is a first for me. First time reading these authors. It's 2 people, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, okay? And that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This book, I don't know if you guys can really see it. It is so good. I purchased this book because I went to Hawaii back in June, and I needed like a vacation contemporary romance book, and I was like, they go to Hawaii in this book. This book just came out, and it just look at it, okay? This screamed vacation in Hawaii. So I took this with me, and I really truly enjoyed it. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars, and now Christina Lauren is literally my favorite authors in the contemporary world. And it follows this girl and this guy who they really it's a love-hate relationship, and they're forced to go on a honeymoon together, and they hate each other, and of course they end up falling in love. This book literally reads like a movie. Like, if you like rom-com movies, then this is exactly how, and the twist on the end, it's so good. It literally needs to be made into a movie because I can see it transferring to big screen so easily, so well. So yeah, this book is a 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely highly recommend. I also read a lot of Christina Lauren's books after reading that one in June. I listened to a lot of them on audiobook, and I highly suggest that actually, because the audiobooks for them is just really good. They're quick to get through, and they're very... The next book that I read was a surprise as well. I did not know how much I was going to like this book. I didn't really want to read it at first because I thought that it would make me sad, because I tend to try to stay away from books that make me sad, personally. I'm just not one of those people. I know some people are sad and they want to read a sad book, but I'm not the type of person. I'm sad and I want to read a book about magic and adventure and love, and that makes me happy. So this book, I just predicted it to be a sad book, and I didn't really want to read it, but I was like, it just looks too pretty. It's a short book, let me read it, and I'm glad that I did. I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and this is none other than A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahara Mafi. This book, let me read you a little bit of it. It's 2002, a year after 9/11, and Shiden has just started at yet another school. It's an extremely turbulent time for the world, but also for someone like Shiden, a 16-year-old Muslim girl who's tired of being stereotyped. This book, it took me through the feels. Cultural wise and also romantic wise, it was just a really, really good book, and the lighting is just washing out these books. I apologize, but I highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed this book thoroughly. Another book that is on my list is Wicked Fox by Kat Cho, and actually I just found out that the sequel will be coming out in 2020, and I'm very excited for that because this book was really good. It follows a kitsune, I want to say, or did I just want to say that word because I like the way that it sounds? It doesn't follow a kitsune, it doesn't, but I just really like the way that word sounds. I don't think it follows a kitsune. Right, it doesn't. Anyway, I'm gonna read you a little bit of it. 18-year-old Gu Myung has a secret. She's a gumiho. There you go, it follows a gumiho. A 9-tailed fox who survives by consuming the energy of men. That is all I'm going to say, okay? Because that just sounds amazing. It sounds like a siren, you know, the mermaids that come up and they sing to the sailor boys and they drag them down to the depths of the sea. That type of thing. This book was like that. Well, in the way of a gumiho can be, okay? It devours the energy of men. Why would you not want to read that? It was literally amazing. I loved it. Yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. I don't want to tell you guys much about it because I like to go into books not knowing much. And I feel like this book is a good book to go in not knowing anything besides the fact that she devours the energy of men. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend. It was a great read of 2019. And let's see, another book that I read in 2019, I do have to put this on here, is The Night Circus. This book brought me out of a really, the worst reading slump of my life. This book is slow, so don't think that because it brought me out of a reading slump, it's fast, because it's not. It's very slow burn, but it's very whimsical, very magical, and I truly did love it. You want to know what this is about? It's just about a circus that pops up in town out of nowhere, and then it just kind of gives background on how the circus was made and the people in the circus, and the characters are really fleshed out, which is something that I truly did also enjoy. The magic system is something different that I've never seen before, and it's very nice. So I also highly recommend, and I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, I believe. So another book that I read for 2019 was Dear Martin by Nick Stone. This book, it looks so small, but I listened to the audiobook and I really enjoyed it. It is definitely heart-wrenching. It follows this guy who is writing letters to Martin Luther King, basically Martin Luther King Jr., basically asking Martin for his advice, you know, in the world that he lives in currently, and he's also likes a white girl, and it's really good. I don't want to give too much away about this book. Just pick it up, just read it. I promise you will enjoy it. This book got a 5 out of 5 out of me. For another book that I read in 2019, it would be With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, or Acevedo. I never say it right. This is my first book that I read of hers. I know that The Poet X is really good. You know, everyone talks about it. I need to get to it, and I will absolutely do that in 2020. But this book just follows a young girl named Imani, very close to Amani, and she is a cook. She's a chef, but she's also a single teenage mom, and it just follows her life, and it's really good. It felt like I was kind of watching Degrassi or something. I know that's a terrible comparison, please ignore me, but I really did enjoy this book, and I think that if you like romance but slow burn, but like, oh my heart, romance, and if you like to see the realities that some people actually have to go through, being a person of color, being a young mom, I think this book was handled very well, and it's really good. I highly recommend. This was absolutely a 5 out of 5 star. And another book that I read this year last year was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now let me tell you, this book, It took me through it, okay? So I read this book physically, and I really wanted to listen to the audiobook because I've heard such great things about the audiobook. But Scrib being Scrib did not have this on audiobook, okay? Guess what Scrib decided? We want to put it on audiobook. Literally 3 days after I finished the physical copy. Yeah, okay. I was highly irritated, but I do plan on rereading this as an audiobook, and I'm very excited for that. This book was weird. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It would have been 5, but it just had moments where I did get bored. I'm not gonna lie. But, and it wasn't what I expected. This book was not what I expected. It was weird, but it was enjoyable, good weird. And of course, Taylor Jenkins Reid's always comes through with the best freaking quotes. And it sounds like I'm saying Taylor Jenkins Reid's plural, but I'm just saying Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm just talking very fast. I don't know why, but I always do that whenever I'm doing these videos. So I'm gonna read you a little bit about it. Daisy is a girl coming of age in LA in the late 60s, sneaking into clubs on the Sunset Strip, sleeping with rock stars, and dreaming of singing at the Whiskey A Go-Go. The sex and drugs are thrilling, but it's the rock and roll she loves most. By the time she's 20, her voice is getting noticed, and she has the kind of heatless beauty that makes people do crazy things. She ends up joining a band, and from there we just follow them and why they break up, and it's told from every person in the band. It's told from their point of view, so you get different chapters with different characters, obviously, and it's really good. Highly recommend. So from there, I also read, and this book has been out for so long. I do have the physical copy, but my sister's reading it right now, right? So I don't have it with me right now, but this book was a pleasant surprise. I have always been a big supporter of the LGBTQ community. That's a mouthful. I've always been a big supporter. Ever since I was little, you know, I don't see them any differently, and I'm so glad that they're being represented more and more throughout society right now. And so with that being said, this is a book that really, I think it was one of the first that really like made the book community really like pay attention to them, you know, as a young adult and stuff. So anyway, this book is widely known, and it was turned into a movie, and it is none other than Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by, oh, I'm trying to remember the name. I know it's like, I think it's Abigail. I can't remember, but I will put it down below. This book was so good. I listened to the audiobook, and I remember being at work. I had to do like the door codes. I work at a hotel. When I was doing the door codes and I was listening to it, and it was the part where they're on the Ferris wheel, and I was just bawling, like I was crying because it was just so good. I felt so many different emotions. It's like I just felt so freaking happy for them. I just felt so like sad because I knew the book was about to end. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, but you know when you read one of those books and you just, there's no other way to explain it besides it just makes you happy, it makes you feel good. That was definitely Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I enjoyed it so much, and yeah. So that was another book, and that book absolutely gets a 5 out of 5 stars. And we're gonna end it off with this book because this book stood out over all of them, okay? And no, not that I was about to say something so stupid. Ignore me. This book stood out over all the other books, okay? This book actually changed my life in a way, because some of the quotes in this book really just, I'm going to get one of them tattooed on me. I have to, or something that symbolizes it, because this book just makes me want to be the woman I've always wanted to be, okay? It makes me want to be a badass bitch, okay? It makes me want to be strong. It makes me want to use everything that I have to my advantage. And I don't mean physically, I mean mentally, I mean everything. Life is just short, and this book makes me so happy. It is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book is a 10 out of 5 stars. I want to cry right now thinking of it. I read it twice this year. each time I read it with audiobooks. So I want to actually read the physical copy, but I just don't have it. So I actually am planning on going to get that today. This book just meant the world to me. It follows a fictional character, Hollywood movie star. Her name is Evelyn Hugo, and it just follows her life of her 7 husbands and who she's really truly loved out of all of her husbands, and how she just was a bad bitch. Okay, she knew what she wanted, she knew ways she can get it, and she did what she did. She did whatever it took to get it. Okay, and there's a quote, and I'm gonna try to say it, but don't quote me because I'm sure I got the words wrong, but it basically says, I don't even want to try and say it, but it has something to do with the world isn't going to give you things, you have to take them. And that quote just like blew my mind. I recommended this book to so many people, and I gave it to my older cousin who's also a reader, but she doesn't really like magical stuff. She's more like a realist, you know, whatever, contemporary type of reader. And I gave this book to her, and I was nervous to see if she would like it, but I love it so much, so I hope that she would, and she loved it as well. This book is just amazing, and it's definitely my #1 all-time favorite book of 2019, and probably will be my all-time favorite book ever. So yeah, those are the books that I enjoyed the most out of 2019, and they made my reading year great. I'm very happy that I read them, and I highly recommend all of them. I'm very excited to go into this new year and see whatever new books we've got. I was going to do like my least hated video, like books of 2019, and I probably will do that because there actually were a couple when I was in my reading slump, but for right now this is what I wanted to film the most because these make me the most happy, and I'm glad that I talked about them because they actually made me feel really good. And thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video is kind of long, kind of rambly, but read these books if you haven't. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.